that stuff that Brian was talking about when they had the talk, Helen shared with him one day, she said, just tell me stuff that you did when, we didn't know. As parents, we thought we had these great kids that never did anything wrong. So they shared one day some of the stuff that was happening. And that's when we were like, really? What? Maybe you should stop talking now. We don't want to know any more stuff. But their point was Helen didn't go nuts on any of that. She just, and that was part of that whole story that he was talking about. But anyway, thank you. This is my Kyle band.
Hey. So let's just start. They were like, hey, just say something nice. And then everyone else in the family wrote an essay. So I just got here. So give me a minute. My mom's super awesome. She's great. And what do you say about your mother? But she was always there for us. And there's so many times I talk to people and they're like, oh, my sister was the favorite, my brother was the favorite, I'm the screw up of the family. And they're like, you know what I mean? I'm like, well, first of all, I'm not the screw up of the family. And I don't.
What'd you say?
But so many people grow up with this generational trauma. I want to be nothing like my parents. I want to be, and it's that's not what our family is. And we learned what family is from my mom and my dad. And, it's not fair to go last because they took all the good stories. But, some people say oh, my parents never fought for me. And I was like, no, my mom fought for me. They're like, oh, my dad traveled a lot. And then when he was there, he was in our life, 100%. I never felt like my dad was gone, but he was gone a lot. But when he was there, he was you knew he was there. But they're like, who if your dad wasn't there, who would cheer for you at your wrestling match? I'm like, my mom did. So, who would fight your teacher? I'm like, my mom did. And there was one time we were watching video of my wrestling match, and she goes, what's that noise? I'm like, that's you and Juji yelling at the ref. I don't even know what you're saying. And she didn't know wrestling, but she would scream. I don't know. It mostly wasn't English. And the words that were English I can't repeat because there's kids in the room. But she was there fighting for me all the time. Which is hard to do. I went 11, I got pinned 11 times in a row before I got a win. And so she was there yelling. It was very hard. But you picked me up from the police station that one time. Yeah, every time the principal called, she'd be like, no, my son's not a loser, he just got bad grades. I got out of high school with a 1.27 GPA. So some of you are like, how is that possible? And the other you were like, is that good or bad? Those are my people. But I remember being in the principal's office often, and my mom was there no, hold him to a higher standard. No, he can do this. No, he's not, he's failing again. She's like, okay, but, he's got a good heart. But that was my mom. And there was one time me, my sister and brother were sitting down going, well, Natalie's the favorite. And me and Brian are like, yeah, Natalie's the favorite. And Natalie's like, what the heck are you guys talking about? You're the favorite. No, you're the favorite. And we all think somebody else, my mom, was the favorite. And most people they fight for who, I want to be the favorite. You guys always made us feel on the same page. And every one of us, no, you never talked bad about your kids to Brian, to Natalie, to me. We all thought you only shared the best in your kids with everybody. And that is something that's hard to live up to, something hard to, emulate. But when people I want to be nothing like my parents, I'm like, I want to be like my parents. So that's all. I don't know. What else we got? Well, should we tell about the crossing guard?
Oh, yes!
Okay, this is great. So one time I'm in elementary school, and I stayed after. I probably had detention, and I had to stay after. So there's nobody. The school pickup line was just as bad in the 90s as it is now. But there was a crossing guard who's a volunteer, and it's me and the crossing guard on the whole street. The buses left an hour ago. And my mom pulls up to pick me up, and she's like, ma'am, you can't park here. She's like, I'm just picking my son up. And she's like, no, the buses are coming. She's like, there's nobody here. The principal left already. There's nobody here. So my mom pulls up 10 feet and is like, Kyle, just get in the car. And the crossing guard went up to the window. And there was a lot of loud noise, mostly coming from my mom. And this sweet crossing guard just rethought her life choices. She put her sign up and was like, all right, fine, you picking up here? Okay, just come get in the car. Get.
595.
Yes. So we all remember the license plate from 1995, F20595, because this sweet crossing guard reported my mother to, I don't know who, but yeah, if they called, she yelled at them too. But that's my mom, always fighting for her kids, and it's fun to watch. That's it. All right, is now Levi's got a speech?